Hey, thanks for stopping by. Welcome to Real Nightmares. I'm Kelly, and with my brother Blake, we're going to dive into the millennial kids movies that still give us the creeps. This is also a space where we will discuss horror psychology and try to understand why the things that scare us scare us. We're so glad you're here. Let's trauma bond. Who knows?
Who knows? I
Who
guess
knows,
we'll never
but here
know.
we are.
Could we
Hi.
go back and listen to the file?
No, we can't. It's too late now.
All right.
That's going to be your problem later.
Ooh.
You're welcome.
Hi, everyone.
And speaking of
Hi,
welcome,
everybody.
welcome to episode 4 of Real Nightmares. I'm super excited. Blake, how are you
Yeah.
feeling today?
I was feeling really good. And then
you watched this movie.
I finished up this movie about an hour ago. And
Woo!
now I'm not so sure. I
know!
I'm not so sure about that.
We're feeling a lot of emotions. Well, are you okay to travel through these emotions with me?
I think this will be cathartic. I think this will be good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm glad I'm here with you.
Like a quest.
Like a quest.
Speaking of quests, wow, I'm segue queen. We got on the chopping block today. We've got Quest for Camelot. It is a 1998 film. It is an hour and 25 minutes. It's rated G. I was
a
surprised.
spicy G.
A spicy G.
Yeah.
And we'll get into. I mean, I was surprised to learn that it was G.
Yeah, me too. When I just saw that in the show notes.
Yeah, it's G. Okay, let's get into the cast and crew. Let's just hop right in. You ready?
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry, Kelly. I didn't ask you how you're doing.
Oh,
how are you doing?
Goodness. I'm doing so well. Thank you so much. I, pregame with my, this is my classic pregame of a little bit of caffeine and 2 ibuprofens and some chapstick. So that's my, combo.
Oh.
All the podcasters out there definitely, the hundreds of podcasters that listen to our podcast. Try with that trifecta. It's a beautiful one. It really is quite lovely.
I know what I'm doing next time. No, that's great.
There you go.
I had a little caffeine. I had a little caffeine.
Secrets.
I'm just missing the ibuprofen, and I'm just missing the chapstick. Okay.
There you go.
Next time. Yeah, next time. Okay.
Next time. I'll set a reminder on your phone.
I am so glad we're here. Yeah, let's get into it.
Let's do it.
Quest for Camelot.
All right. It is directed by Frederick DeChow, and if you don't recognize that, that's because he only directed 3 other very mid movies. So mid that I don't remember them.
And you were just looking at IMDb
and I was just looking
a minute
at
ago.
It. Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. So great. Thanks, Frederick, for this gem.
So mad. You're so mad.
This is going to be a very passive aggressive episode.
Thanks, Frederick.
Thanks, Frederick. Exactly. Good old Freddy. So let's get into the cast because, as we have been learning, every animated film from our childhood was just absolutely chock full with A-list actors.
Yeah.
No big deal.
Right. Here we go.
So crazy. Well, starting off not too hot, our main protagonist is Kaylee. She is voiced by Jessalyn Gilsig. And she is Terry Del Monaco. She also plays Terry Del Monaco in Glee. I'm not a big Glee fan personally.
Yeah,
watcher. I didn't really watch Glee.
Yeah.
But then she was also Siggy from Vikings.
Yeah.
And I'm a big Vikings fan. So
Yeah?
Siggy from Vikings. I guess I'm a big Ragnar fan.
There it is.
The truth. There it is. Yeah.
Yep.
Love it. And, get in touch with my Viking ancestry.
You're not a Viking.
Well, there's Danish in there somewhere.
No, I like that.
Whatever.
I like that show. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go back and watch it and find Jessalyn Gilsig.
Jessalyn Gilsig.
That's a hard
rolls right
name
off the
to-
tongue.
Yeah, that's a hard name.
Yeah. And then there was also a singing voice for Kaylee, and I didn't write her down. I'm sorry. She wasn't really in anything. Our other protagonist, Garrett, is voiced by Carrie Elwes, who is Wesley from The Princess Bride and Robin Hood from Robin Hood and Men in Tights. And
Saw.
and Saw, and he's been in a lot of things, but those are the two main things that would kind of spark people's memory of Carrie Elwes.
Yeah.
For me, Wesley was a huge sexual awakening, and I'm sure a lot of people feel the same. Cute, so sweet, charming, the British accent. Hello. Garrett's singing voice. They chose not to go with a British person, and it's very apparent in the film. His name is Brian. His name is Brian White.
I noticed that.
So, the most American person ever singing for him. Then we're moving on to Sir Ruber, and he is our villain, played by Gary Oldman. Another, celebrity crush of mine. I love Gary Oldman.
Really?
Oh my gosh, yeah. Especially as Sirius Black in Harry Potter, with dark, shaggy hair.
Okay,
and
I can see that.
He's wearing a V-neck that goes down to his belly button, and he's got a chest tattoo. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, you can see it.
I'm just seeing him as Commissioner Gordon from the
Christian Bale
movie.
Batmans.
Yeah.
He also played Dracula in Bram Stoker's Dracula, and also Winston Churchill, which Winston doesn't really get me going, but
no.
But Sirius Black, yes. He's also Zorg from The Fifth Element, and I just put that in there because I just love The Fifth Element. Such a campy, wild
such a
film.
Good movie.
Such a fun film. And then we've got our two, what are they called? Dinosaurs, not dinosaurs.
Relief? Yeah. Dragons.
Dragons. That's the one. Dragons. Our comedic relief. Our dragons, Devon and Cornwall. Devon is played by Eric Idle, who you will know as, in the Monty Python crew. He is Sir Robin, the not quite so brave as Sir Lancelot in Monty Python.
Wasn't he also in Casper?
Oh, yeah, he was.
He was the lackey in Casper.
Mm-hmm,
Yeah,
totally. 1995, Casper. Great. Yeah, great callback. And then Cornwall is Don Rickles, and he was in Kelly's Heroes, which isn't a big film show for me, but that might spark something in somebody else. But
I have never heard of that in my life.
He was in 56 episodes. So
okay.
I was okay.
Cool. All right.
I'm that's what he's known for, I'm assuming. But maybe for the millennials, he was the voice of Mr. Potato Head in Toy
That's
Story.
It. Yeah, that's I know that one.
I know that one. That one seems a little bit more up my alley.
Yeah.
And then we have Juliana, the mom. She is played by the incredible Jane Seymour. Another celebrity crush of mine. I'm obsessed with Jane Seymour. She is Elise in Somewhere in Time, which is a heartbreaking romance film with Christopher Reeves.
Yeah.
And then she is Marguerite St. Just
fully
in
mobile. Mobile Christopher Reeves.
Too soon.
Sorry. Christopher Reeves. Sorry.
Oh,
I do love that movie, though. I do that. Somewhere in Time is very corny and very beautiful. I like that one.
Beautiful. And then she's Marguerite St. Just in The Scarlet Pimpernel. The Scarlet Pimpernel is a classic in our our family.
Yeah. Well, I think more for you. I always remember watching kind of not really on the same vein, but the Court Jester. What's that one?
Oh yeah. The Court Jester with Danny. What's his name? It's not Daniel. His name is Daniel.
We'll never know.
I'm pretty sure. We'll
We'll
never
never
know.
know.
It's a mystery. I'm
It's
not going to
like
look it up
there's an
after
app
this.
that can tell us all of that.
No.
Just
Weird.
Too bad. Too bad.
Super too bad. Anyway, so the Scarlet Pimpernel, I remember watching her in the Scarlet Pimpernel and just being like, that's the most beautiful woman I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
Like, my imagination could not conjure up a more beautiful woman.
Just
that was the limit. The
just
limit
created in a Hollywood lab somewhere.
Yeah.
Just perfect.
Yeah, exactly.
She could still get it. Like, today.
100%.
She could still get it.
Yeah. So we love Jane Seymour. Well, I really love Jane Seymour. And then we've got Juliana's singing voice is Celine Dion.
Yeah. Like,
who we know her from her being Celine Dion. Like,
yeah,
it's Celine Dion. I was like floored. I had totally forgotten that it was Celine Dion.
Yeah, she's the soundtrack to this movie. I mean, I guess like right off the top, the sound, like the songs in this movie is like, they are really good. Like, you know, like 90s era like Disney movies, like good. And so yeah, like when you hear Celine Dion, she's fantastic. She's really good.
I love all the songs are so good, but also so chaotic. I love it.
Yes, those are good. Those are the good like little gems in the movie for sure. It's
the Venn diagram of excellent and unhinged.
Yes,
I love it. So we also have King Arthur, which is played by Pierce Brosnan. We know Pierce Brosnan from his role as James Bond, and he was also Sam in Mamma Mia. I'm glad they allowed Pierce Brosnan to sing in Mamma Mia. I am glad that they didn't in this movie.
Oh yeah, because King Arthur does sing a bit.
He sings it. Yeah, different guy.
We don't know whoever the guy is that does his singing voice.
We don't know.
Yeah, no, that's good. But
he does a good job.
Like Pierce Brosnan as King Arthur in this kind of derpy animated film is wild to me, because by 1998 he is already playing James Bond. Like he is James Bond, right? So like the fact that like Warner Brothers came to him and was like, Pierce, buddy, listen, this is gonna be your next you know, you did 007, here's the next rung up on the ladder.
Yeah, I would like to have been there at like that pitch meeting.
Yeah, exactly.
Totally.
Exactly.
We've got a side character, Griffin, which is played by Bronson Pinchot.
Pinchot?
I don't know. He's Balky from Perfect Strangers and Barry from Risky Business. I was like, cool, don't know that guy. Next up, we've got Bladebeak.
you had to prepare yourself for Bladebeak. It's great. Yes.
Yeah, who's played by Julia White, who's Steve Urkel from Family Matters. I was like, oh, that was unnecessary as well, I feel.
Yeah.
But
okay.
It happened.
All right, he's there.
Yeah, he's there. And then, last but not least, we've got Sir Lionel, which is the protagonist's father. He's played by Gabriel Byrne.
Byrne? Yeah,
He's
Gabriel
Keaton
Byrne? Yeah.
He's Keaton from The Usual Suspects. I love the Usual Suspects. And then he's Steve from Hereditary. And then Earl from Vikings. In fact, he ends up marrying Siggy. So the guy who plays her, like Kaylee, she ends up playing a character that's like married to the guy who is playing her dad. It's odd.
Oh my God, it's all connected.
Isn't that weird? It's all connected. Circle of life. This should be The Lion King.
Time is a circle.
Blake has been enlightened. He's just going to be like raptured.
And it was all thanks to Quest for Camelot.
And it was all, wow. Thanks, Celine. So let's get into the plot. How do we feel about that?
Yeah. With you by my side, I can do it.
Holding my hand.
It's not that bad. It's okay.
No,
it's really not that bad. But
we're being dramatic.
We'll get into it. We'll get into
Yeah.
it, though.
Yeah. So the movie's set in the time of King Arthur. There's a family that lives out in the countryside, and the family consists of like mom, dad, and daughter, Kaylee. Sir Lionel, the dad, is a knight in King Arthur's court. So when Haley's young, maybe like 11 or 12, dad goes to a meeting in Camelot, and all the knights are there. Through our opening song, which is fantastic. It's very like Celtic and very like, it's got a good beat. We are introduced to the principles of King Arthur's values in his realm. It's like honor, truth, justice. And like, honestly, it sounds a lot like the kids from like Captain Planet.
Right.
You know, like love, truth, heart, you know.
It's real cute. It's
cute.
A real cute moment.
Most of the knights are like totally normal looking people.
I mean,
and then
I will say the animation in the beginning is, how do you say, dog shit? It's
sketchy at best.
It's sketchy at best. And then
the Disney rejects.
Yeah, so it's like the other knights in the table are like, oh man, they're a little rough. They're a little rough, but like pretty normal looking, fairly
recognizable as men.
Yes.
Normal looking men, beards, hair,
humanoids. Yeah,
humanoid features. And then so they're normal looking people, and then there's like Ruber. Would you like to talk about Ruber?
He is. First off, I watched half the movie thinking his name was Gruber.
I was saying Ruger the whole time, like the gun.
I know.
I'm like, nobody can get his name.
Nobody
right.
nobody knew. Even the people that had the script, they were reading the lines.
Maybe that's what turned him evil. Is everybody just called him?
Like, God damn it, it's Ruber. Ruber.
I'm like, okay, not a name. Thank you.
He's honestly terrifying. Like
he is terrifying.
The animation manager, or whoever it was, the animation director for this character, was a psychopath because he is terrifying. Really
dived into some deep trauma there.
Like from the top of his head, he's got this like he's bald, but then this like stringy hair that goes like red hair that goes down his shoulders, like huge buggy eyes. I'm glad you mentioned this in the show notes, but he is like twitchy and gross. Like,
twitchy and gross. I was like, those are two great words to describe him.
Any close up of this guy, his eyebrows do a wave.
Like a little like.
And he's like, his lip does this like a twitchy, kind of gross. A snarl? What would you say?
Like
it's
a curl?
He's like a very gross. Like,
he's a very gross person.
He makes me feel icky.
Yeah, he had major ick vibes. He is unhinged, and a lot of the reviews that I read was like, he just seemed unnatural and like unhinged, and you didn't know what he was going to do next. And I think that was the vibe that they were going for. It's just he is like twitchy and buggy and just not good. Somebody described his character as like Nicolas Cage energy.
Oh.
And I was like, yeah, like just over the top.
Yeah. Just
like yelling 1 minute and then absolute psycho.
I could see that. I just don't know where Gary Oldman got, like, he went full psycho for that character. Like, full psycho for that character.
That is so funny because that's so funny that you bring up, like, where does he get this from? Because there is an unfounded rumor that Gary Oldman would, like, take shots before recording Ruger so he could, like, capture that energy. I couldn't find, like, an actual reliable source, but I read that comment, like, many times. So I don't know if it's, like... legend or anything like that, but I'm like, yeah, I understand. Like,
I don't know enough about it to debate
tequila
you.
energy.
I don't know enough about it to say no, so I'm going to say that is
yes.
true. I'm going to say yes. That's what he did. Ruber looks...
We're going to spread that rumor.
Yeah, the Ruber rumor.
Yeah.
He looks like slimy, but he's not covered in slime. Like,
yeah, I think it's his hair is kind of like seaweedy.
Yeah.
Like red seaweed. And, you know, gingers are untrustworthy, so...
Yeah, if you didn't pick up from this long explanation that Kelly and I are doing of this character, if you didn't pick this up, he is this, like, the scary part of this.
Yeah, he's the villain. Like, we've already...
He's disgusting.
He's pegged himself as the villain, honestly, by looking like that.
Yeah.
And his really terrified me. His nails.
You didn't mention his nails. His nails are like chipped and jagged, not like pointy, but they're like chipped and jagged,
like driftwood, like like shipwreck wood.
Shipwreck, yes. Shipwreck
as his fingernails.
Hands,
absolutely terrible. I hate thinking about it. Thank you. So he decides that he hates all this like lovey-dovey sing-song, you know, Captain Planet energy. He wants to be king, so he stages a coup. So during this attack that Ruber pulls like alone, okay? It's just like him and like all the other knights of the round table versus him. King Arthur stops him with Excalibur, but Daddy Knight, like Sir Lionel, dies in the fight. There's no blood, but we do have a parental death in a G-rated film.
Yeah.
But I said, it's okay. It's for character development. So she'll use that. Right?
She will. Yes. As a springboard, if you will, into the said quest.
Exactly.
So it's okay.
So Ruger has retreated, failed coup, but Daddy Sir Lionel is dead. 10 years later, Kaylee's all grown up and wants to be a knight just like her dad. She's inspired by everything that he's done and wants to be just like him.
So is she is an adult by this point. I assumed she was an adult.
I would say she seemed like 10 or 12.
Yeah.
In the beginning, so I'm guessing, and they keep saying like, oh, it's been 10 years.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing she's like 20, 22, 23, which is pretty old for a protagonist in like this kind of film. So usually they're like 17, 14. You know,
right. I didn't know if it was like an Ariel from The Little Mermaid. Like, I'm 16, Daddy. I'm not a girl anymore. I'm not a child anymore.
Yeah, and Snow White being like canonically 14. No.
Yeah, right.
I think she's in her 20s. That's what I would assume.
I think
so too. At the very least, 18, I would say.
Yeah, I will go with 18. She's a little naive in a lot of things. Like,
oh, yeah. We'll get into that. It's for character development, Rob.
Yeah, so I'll say 18. That makes the most sense to me.
Yeah. So back at Camelot, a griffin smashes through the window, snatches Excalibur, and zooms out. As the griffin is escaping, he's flying over the haunted forest and is attacked by a falcon. And the sword gets lost in the forest. Then a horn call goes out like a warning from Camelot. And everyone immediately knows. Like, they're like, oh, Excalibur's been stolen.
I noticed that too. I was like, what? How does everybody... Oh, is it two? Like, everyone's sitting there being like, okay, two blasts. Oh, shit. Excalibur stolen.
There's this other guy that's like, all the pigs are on a rampage eating the corn. And they're like, no, it's Excalibur.
No, it's Excalibur.
Did you hear it went up at the end? That means Excalibur.
Come on, Gerald.
Come on, Gerald.
It's like kind of like a fart. Like, the noise is kind of like a fart of a trumpet. It's like, and everyone's like, no.
That's it. Like, this was a potential situation that they marked down on like a chart and had everybody memorize. Like,
everybody in the kingdom. Yeah, it's just like, it was insane because everybody in the movie, like, even this dude out in the field is like, oh no. I know specifically that
like,
Excalibur has been stolen.
Pulls out this chart.
Yeah.
So Kaylee hears and she's like, oh my gosh, Excalibur's been stolen. She's not worried about her society collapsing because Excalibur is what, like, is the cornerstone to their peace that they're enjoying.
Oh yeah.
She's not worried about that.
Right, at the beginning of the movie, her dad is giving some exposition and like telling a story and being like, oh yeah, it was just like warlords until King Arthur and Excalibur showed up. So she's like not worried about that.
Not worried about society collapsing. She wants to go out to look for Excalibur because her life is boring.
Okay.
Yeah,
she's 18.
Yeah, she is 18. So she's like, I want to go out. I want to be a knight. This is my destiny. That night, I'm assuming, Ruber comes busting in through the door, lights like things on fire. I don't know. And then immediately tries to like kiss Juliana. And I'm like, unwelcome touch. Please. Back off, sir. You killed my husband. Like, what are you doing touching me? He says he was in the neighborhood and decided to invade, which is such a great line.
It's cute. He's got a couple of like very cute lines like that.
Yeah, very cute. Like he thought about them and practiced them in the mirror beforehand. I just need to re-stress how insane Ruber is. He is twitching. He's saying like wild things. He's very like unpredictable.
Yeah.
So that's that. And it's obviously terrifying. It's these two young women, well, a young woman and her like mom alone in this. And yeah, it's terrifying for me as like a woman. I'm like, don't touch her.
Well, because he shows up with,
Oh yeah.
He shows up with a crew, right? Like that basically
like,
looks like, like swords, a bunch of swords for hire. With weird
mercenaries,
weird sideburns and spiky hair.
Yes, yeah, that was a requirement.
Yeah, but this whole crew like rolls in.
Mm-hmm. So Ruber says, "I've got this plot to take over Camelot. I need Juliana to sneak into the castle gates, like to help me sneak into the castle gates. It's like Trojan horse style, right? She's going to be out front. He and his men are going to be hiding in the carriages, and then we'll bust out and take over Camelot." He brings everyone outside and shows this potion that he can use to mix humans with weapons.
Well,
and he starts.
He takes everybody outside and then does a little dance. And
that's
then pulls out the potion.
Dance
that can
and
mix
song
humans with weapons.
During this, melodical explanation, he brings out this potion. Thank you. There's a whole, dance routine. So glad you brought that up.
And the potion, he pulls it out and it's a sinister lime?
Evil lime.
It's evil lime.
Yes.
So this is like the griffin's eyes are lime. This potion is lime.
The potion's lime.
You know it's 90s and scary because it's lime.
Because it's green.
Yeah.
Because it's bright green.
So on the potion, it's a Warner Brothers movie. There's a little Looney Tunes kind of cameo. Not cameo, but like homage. He holds up the potion and it says Acme on the side.
Oh, yeah. It does say Acme on it.
And
just road runnering it out there. He called it the road runner.
Yeah, exactly.
Girl, where do you get your stuff? It's always so good. So he starts throwing all of his cronies into a well, along with like maces and crossbows, and they come out as these big metal humanoids with like weapons as hands. So like they come out and like he's got maces as hands, or like crossbows or swords or whatever. And the song is a banger, and Ruber gets like A+, for showmanship.
It's like right under Scar's song in like Be Prepared.
Yeah, yes.
It's like it's pretty
good.
Close. It's pretty up there in terms of like an evil like sassy villain song. Right?
Where would you rate Rasputin's song in all of this?
Oh shoot.
In the Dark of the Night.
Are you talking about the Anastasia?
Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
Man. because
That's
that's
such a good one.
Christopher Lloyd, and
It is Christopher Lloyd.
it's the page. He's the page master.
He is
and
the
then-
page master.
Yeah, he's like Rasputin is like the page master's like evil twin brother.
Oh
like
my
one
gosh.
was like
Canon.
one was like I'm really passionate about literature,
Wow.
and the other one was like I just want to kill the Tsar.
Taking over Russia.
Yeah.
Wow, that's really different dreams there.
Dang. Okay. I would say. I don't know.
It's a hard one.
That's a really hard one. I would say that Rasputin song is definite. No. Okay. So I would say Be Prepared, then Rasputin song, and then this one. But that would be the top. That would be the top three.
Top three, honestly.
And I'm sure there's like a lot of like sinister lime colored swirling smoke
in all of them.
In all of them.
In all
right?
of them. Oh yeah, very
No, but
lime.
that's a really good question. Yeah, because he's like Rasputin is also disgusting. So
I love him.
That's also a really
And
good
that's
song.
going to be a future episode, 100%.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure.
So Gary Oldman is the only voice actor that also did the singing part. Like he does his singing part.
Yeah, he did, and it's fantastic.
And he knocks it out of the park. Love it. And also nobody could be as unhinged as like Gary Oldman in this film.
Yeah.
This is the scene that scared me as a kid, obviously. These henchmen are being like thrown into a pit and climbing out as different like human metal hybrids. And Ruber is like unbothered by the potential ramifications of his actions. You know, like what does this mean for his henchmen?
Oh, he doesn't care.
And he doesn't care. And Blake, I was thinking about why this is so scary. And we talked about how we wanted to dive a little bit deeper into like the actual like psychological reasons as why this freaked us out as kids.
Yeah.
So we did some research. We're learned on the different genres of horror. And, we got stuff like paranormal horror, slasher horror, monster horror, etc.
And I'm sure everybody, like, hearing those, categories. If you're a fan of horror, you can think of one. You know one.
Yeah. And I think, we both decided that Quest for Camelot falls under what is called body horror. Yeah. Which is, and I've got the definition right here again.
Yeah, okay.
Learned. It's horror that is principally derived from the unnatural graphic transformation, degeneration, or destruction of the physical body. So, for example, movies that deal with decay, disease, mutation, or mutilation of the human body. So, like, I wanted to talk about why this is so scary.
Yeah.
You ready?
Let's get into it.
Okay. So, like, humans identify deeply with our bodies. That's, like, our, mode of experiencing with the world, right? It's through our bodies. It's how we perceive the world. Mm-hmm. And our bodies are a symbol of our humanity. So the act of body horror is like us being stripped away from our humanity, or our humanity being taken away from us.
Yeah.
So, or that like our humanity is being tainted or badly influenced by outside forces.
Yes.
So
especially
this is very
like unnatural, inorganic, forces, materials. Yeah, that kind of thing.
Yeah. So it's like a loss of like control and a fear of like potentially losing more of ourselves to the machine, to the disease, to the mutation. So we're losing ourselves to this outside force.
Yeah. And I think like framing this scene in terms of in terms of it being a body horror, it's not like just losing our humanity, but also like losing autonomy a little bit, because in the first couple of guys that go into this well to get like metal enmeshed, like metal morphed, he just throws them in there. Like, he literally, like, smacks one in, and the guy's screaming all the way down.
There wasn't a discussion beforehand, or, like, a consensual kind of contract. He definitely like surprised them with this.
So like, so this dude loses, like, he's no longer human when he comes out, and he had like no say in it.
No say in it.
So it's like, yeah, obviously that's going to be like scary
Terrifying.
on a deep level for a kid.
Yeah, for sure. And the thought of like my body could become something else, something other, something foreign is terrifying. Especially like you're growing up and your body does change. That's terrifying in and of itself. So the specific type of body horror in Quest for Camelot is like inorganic, right? It's like man plus machine instead of like man plus another animal, you know? So a lot of inorganic body horror began in the 90s, actually, because of technology's rising role in our lives.
Yeah.
So we started to feel afraid of technology's influence on our humanity or even like our souls. And we didn't know like how far machines would go. So
nobody can see my eyes just like getting super big. This is like,
it looks like you're just gonna fall over any second.
This is incredible. This is really cool. Like everything that was happening in the 90s, and how I think we, obviously we take it for granted now, but the how exponential technology was, like, everyone was watching this technology, modern technology just get exponentially
explode.
More and more.
It was just
right, like and more personal, right? Like and more on a personal level, where it's like, okay, computers stopped being this thing in a giant room, it became this thing in your home,
in my house,
in my house, right? Like the phone is no longer connected to the wall; it's in your hand. And it's almost, it's like, it's so close to being a part of you because you're holding it and it's, it's right there. Yeah. So that makes so much sense.
And what are the ramifications on society, on our culture, on, our way of living?
Yeah.
Like, we didn't know at this time. So,
Spoiler, it was terrible.
Spoiler, we all have mental health issues.
Everyone, I checked Instagram earlier, and it's not good. Just letting everybody know, it's not good.
So obviously, body horror is a popular theme in horror movies for adults, right? So we've got like The Fly that has like Jeff Goldblum plus a fly, being meshed together. We've got John Carpenter's The Thing.
A very hot, sweaty Jeff Goldblum in The Fly.
Before he turns into a fly,
Yeah.
And then even like Nightmare on Elm Street, where like the slasher Freddy has like knives for hands, right?
Yeah, okay.
He has like this inorganic thing attached to his hand. So like think Cronenberg, think John Carpenter, that kind of thing. So
were you going to talk about Videodrome?
Oh my gosh. I could talk so much about body horror. That's what I've been eating and breathing the past couple days.
Because you can't, because it's like, you can't talk about, number one, you can't talk about body horror without talking about Cronenberg, right? And
totally.
It was 1983, so it was a little bit, or, it's not the 90s per se, but it's like, that whole movie's about, like, us being enmeshed with technology and
becoming a TV.
Right, yeah, exactly. Becoming a TV. And, he, like, it basically, in Videodrome, this, I don't think it's spoiling the movie, but at a certain point, the main...
James Cook?
James Woods?
Cook? Woods?
James Woods.
Right, you're right.
Yeah, Hades from Hades from Hercules. The main protagonist has like, a .38 pistol in his hand, and it becomes part of his body. These metallic tentacles kind of come out of his hand and enmesh the gun with his hand. So it's like basically, so you look at Videodrome, and what's happening in that scene in Videodrome is basically what we're talking about in Quest for Camelot, where it's like a weapon now has become part of your you have become the weapon, right?
Yeah. So Videodrome for kids.
Yeah.
Rated G.
Fantastic. It's really great.
Okay. Well, did you have any, like, I guess Videodrome, but did you have like any examples of body horror, like a body horror movie that you would recommend?
Yeah, I do actually. We had talked about this before, and now I'm prepared.
Oh,
I watched it. I watched this one a while ago. It's from 1989, and it's a Japanese film called Tetsuo, the Iron Man. And really quick, the premise is, the reason I want to talk about this is because I think people should see it. It's kind of surreal. It's like a little bit like Eraserhead, but I thought it was fantastic. It was really, really good. A businessman and his girlfriend are driving in their car, and they run over and kill what the movie calls this person is a quote-unquote metal fetishist. Oh. So I think he just has a sexual obsession with metal. So they run this guy up. Yeah, right.
Can't relate.
Of course, you all know one, I'm sure. And so this businessman and his girlfriend kill this guy. They bury his body and go home. But, they soon find that the businessman is basically plagued with this curse where he is slowly, his flesh is turning to iron and metal. And
that's a horrifying transformation for sure.
It is. Oh, and the whole thing's filmed in black and white. For some reason, it makes it even more.
Oh yeah.
It makes it
striking.
Even more scary as this transformation is taking place, and I don't want to spoil it, but certain parts of his body, certain appendages, become metallic and very dangerous and very sharp.
Oh.
Yeah. This one's not rated G, just so you know.
Wild ride.
But it's really cool. I was hesitant when somebody recommended it to me, but then I watched it and I was like, man, that was really not so much scary, but as off-putting and
for sure.
Very very off-putting and very unsettling, and also done really well. So I mean, that's kind of exactly what when we're talking about this, that's the movie that I thought of.
Totally. And what I've heard of people describing a lot of body horror is this mix of disgust and also pity.
Oh yeah.
Those are the two dueling emotions that you are feeling. I know that's what I felt when I watched The Fly. That's definitely a mixture of those two.
Oh yeah.
My recommendation would be Guns Akimbo. It's starring Daniel Radcliffe. We love Daniel Radcliffe. And he wakes up one day and his hands are bolted to guns.
Through his hands,
through his
Christ.
Hands. Crucifixion style.
Yeah.
Bolted to his hands. He cannot take them off. He is then forced into a fight to the death with another player, who is Samara Weaving, also love, for the entertainment of this underground live-streamed fight club. So,
cool.
He is indeed physically and symbolically losing his humanity through this experience, right? And it sounds intense, and it is.
It is.
It's very intense. There's a lot of shooting and blood and gore, but it does have a more funny and energetic feel. I know it's ironic to say funny, but it's kind of more for the fun of it. Than a true horror film, but it definitely reminded me of you got guns for hands now. What are you gonna do? So that's my recommendation.
That's cool.
But if any listeners have any recommendations for body horror films, I would love to hear about them. Yeah. We would love to hear about them. Or if you're realizing, oh, that's why this movie terrified me. We'd love to hear that too.
Yeah, realnightmares@gmail.com.
Yes. So back to the plot. You ready to go back to the plot, or do we need
I just was blown away. That was some really good. No, that was really good information. Like, it's like I love horror. But I've never kind of delved into that, body horror as a, as a concept. So that was really cool. Yeah.
Yeah, really interesting. So if you remember where we were, the henchmen are metal weapon freaks. Ruber is just super focused on his song.
They're metal fetishists, if you will.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Kaylee sees this opportunity to escape. So she escapes and goes to the Forbidden Forest. Some of the metal guys chase after her on pigback while they're like on the back of pigs. Did you catch that part?
That's what I assumed when you said pigback. That it was involved the back of a pig, yeah.
They're not like piggybacking each other.
He's not giving a piggy. It's the pig back.
It's the pig. He's on a pig's back. Then Mom, voiced by Celine Dion herself, goddess, sings the song The Prayer. And everybody knows this song. But what I did not know was this song was written for this movie.
Was it really?
Yeah. It won a Golden Globe.
They wrote some bangers for this.
This ends up being like
movie.
One of Celine Dion's like most popular songs, and it was written for this film.
Oh yeah, like there was a lot of like church settings growing up.
Oh,
where like we heard this song.
Oh
like,
yeah, you would hear this song being sung.
And yeah, it's
just know
awesome.
It came from Quest for Camelot.
Yeah.
This song also like barely lost the Oscar to When You Believe from Prince of Egypt. So
okay, I like this one more.
Yeah.
Okay,
it's a bop.
Yeah.
So Kaylee's in the forest and decides to go after the sword and return it to Camelot. Here she meets this blind forest-dwelling hermit who is the owner of the Falcon. The Falcon who knows where the sword is.
Yeah.
His name, this hermit, not the Falcon. The hermit's name is Garrett. And he can also, like Loki, understand everything that the Falcon is saying.
He can also low-key get it.
Yeah, he's a hottie.
This is Elwes.
He's got a big mouth. Cary Elwes.
Yeah, it's Cary Elwes. Cary Elwes is voicing this guy.
Yeah, and Garrett is like basically if Wesley like never left the fire swamp. Like
oh, yeah. It's like in an alternate universe, Wesley never left.
He's
became blind somehow. Like,
Buttercup's dead.
He failed. Failed that. And yeah, because it's kind of like this magical forest is kind of like it is kind of similar with like weird creatures and
weird traps and things.
Like a tree that's gonna eat you and stuff.
Yeah, there's like moving plants, floating water, strange creatures. Totally. Yeah. He sings this entire song about standing alone, also a banger, and then is like really easily persuaded for Kaylee to come along.
He's like, that whole song I just sung? That whole... Never mind.
Yeah. She's like, but please. And he's like, okay. You're like, okay.
It's like his falcon like whispered in his ear. It's like, bro, but she's hot, bro.
She's like, you can't see her, but she's a stunner. Like 10 out of 10.
Like, trust
and I'm a falcon.
I'm a falcon. So maybe you don't want to trust me on the concept of like a hotness in women, but like I personally, bro, do it.
Do it. Yeah, it was definitely the Falcon's doing. So they're in this together now, for better or worse. And meanwhile, Ruber is now following their trail. They're led into dragon territory, and we come across the comedic relief that's not really very good. It's a double-headed dragon. One ahead is called Devon and the other is Cornwall. And it's like a New Yorker and a Brit like smashed together.
Yeah.
They're clearly our comic relief. And I heard that they like ad-libbed a ton of stuff for this film and like none of it was used. So probably would have been better.
Probably. What if they added a bunch of the ad lib stuff? It would have been better?
Oh, it probably would have been much better.
Okay, yeah.
It's like Monty Python. Come on.
Oh yeah, yeah. If he's like one half of it is like Monty Python,
the other is Mr. Potato Head.
Yeah,
what could go wrong?
Oh, that would have been really good. Yeah, because they kind of like suck in this movie.
Yeah,
like as
it's a little
as
bit
a comedic.
like, even as a kid, I don't remember really laughing at any of their bits. Maybe like one or two.
Or Blade. Well, maybe when they kissed each other.
Yeah, that was funny.
That was funny, and weird. But and then like Blade. We're not even talking about Blade.
We're not even talking about Blade Beak.
Who was
a chicken mixed with an axe, obviously.
Yeah. Yes, obviously. Yeah, so it's like, kind of like
none of his bits are funny either.
Yeah, the funny bits are really not funny. Yeah.
So these two dragons are much smaller than the other dragons, and they can't fly or breathe fire. They all band together, obviously, because this is just misfit like territory.
Right.
And they all narrowly escape big scary dragons and Ruger. Ruger is then like facing off with these dragons and ends up killing them like barehanded. He's lost his sword, and he seems like more annoyed that he has to deal with this situation than like scared.
And then he like cold clocks one. Like he knocks one out with a punch.
But with like a right hook, and next scene they're like roasting on a spit. They're like roasting a giant dragon on a spit.
Yeah.
And like you gotta give it to him. Like Ruger has like such like, how hard can this be kind of energy. You know what I mean? Like you know, when you go into like a project and you're like, drywall, how hard can that be? You know? Ruger has that energy with every single situation. He's like, killing a dragon. I mean, it seems more like a chore than anything right now.
Yeah. Yeah, he's annoyed with it. I think that's a good way of describing it.
Yeah, so they escape the clutches of Ruger again. Kaylee and company escape him. We then unlock Garrett's tragic backstory. He was a stable boy who got kicked in the face by a horse while saving the horses from a fire, which caused his blindness. Kaylee's dad was like the only one who believed in him and like taught him how to fight. So we know like he feels like this connection to Kaylee's dad, and that's beautiful.
Yeah.
The Falcon knows where Excalibur is and leads them to a cave. They sneak in and like grab the sword from an ogre, and they narrowly avoid Ruger and his thugs. I don't know about you, but this is a point where I was like, I'm bored.
Yeah, exactly. And because it's like, mainly because it's like Ruger is like terrifying, but then every one of these situations has like almost like a where him and his dudes are failing, almost has like this comedic like flavor, and it's just like I'm bored and I'm not scared of him.
I'm not scared
at this point. Anyway, that changes later, but at this point in the movie, I was just like, okay, great, let's move it along.
Yeah, we reach the end of the forest, like Garrett and Kaylee and the two dragons. One dragon, two dragons put together. Is one dragon.
I don't know. All I know is that they animated that dragon, that two-headed dragon, like a Pixar mom.
Oh, yeah.
His butt is the butt on this like two-headed dragon is just
it's
huge.
3 dragons, honestly.
He's a dragon dragging that butt around.
You should have been the comic relief.
Sure.
So they reach the end. The whole crew, whatever, Kaylee's crew, reaches the end of the forest, and Garrett says that he can't go back to Camelot because everyone there is like super ableist and sees him and I quote him, less than a man. Like, he said something in his song about like they all view him as less than a man, and I was like, okay. He's probably
not wrong.
He's worried that Kaylee will start to view him poorly as well. And I'm like, what is wrong with the citizens of Camelot? Because their song at the beginning was all about like equality and harmony, and I guess I missed the verse like about how that doesn't apply to like the visually impaired.
Yeah. I mean, her dad helped him out, right?
Yeah, and then he like died, so there's nobody to defend him anymore.
I don't know. Like, Garrett's like, man, if we go back to Camelot, she's gonna be around all these dudes that can see. I don't, like, there goes my shot.
There goes my shot.
Yeah, even though he's like cute and very able, and you know, yeah, he's just kind of worried about going back.
Yeah, they're singing that song at the beginning, and they're like, "United we stand," but unless you're that blind kid,
no
get out
wheelchair
of
access
here.
going up to the castle.
Yes.
Not
exactly.
so great, Camelot.
Not so great. We're seeing the chinks in the armor. Maybe I'm with Ruger on this. Ruber. Damn it. What's his name? Gruber.
Call me
right.
Mr. Gruber.
So Kaylee continues to Camelot alone. Like, Garrett's like, nah, I can't do it. She very quickly gets captured by Ruger. Like, very quickly.
Like, immediately.
Yeah. He now has Excalibur, and he fuses Excalibur to his arm.
Oh, geez, this is the one.
This is the one.
This is the one that scared. Like, you're talking about, like, when, you know, he, like, Ruber.
It's in the notes, and I can't get it right.
I know. I have to read it every time that I say it. Ruber, when he takes out the potion and is, like metal melding these dudes, this is the one that scares me. He grabs Excalibur and, like, puts a drop of this potion on his hand, and, like, his stringy hair gets blown back by the force of, like, this mystical power and this green, like, billowing smoke that's coming out of his hand. And his eyes are, like, if he was
extra
before,
buggy. Yeah,
it's, like, extra freaking crazy. Like,
crazy eyes.
Everything. And,
twitching everything.
Twitching. Everything on this man is twitching.
Everything is twitching. Yeah, and definitely, like, where does his hand go? You know, like,
it is the Excalibur at that point.
It's Excalibur.
It looks cool. Like, the design of it
cool.
looks cool, but yeah, that growing up, like,
that one was scary.
Yeah, not good.
Yeah. Excalibur can, like, fully rotate on his wrist, too.
Yeah.
It's a cool detail, but,
part.
like, super freaky.
Yeah.
Super freaky. So, everything's looking pretty grim.
I'll say.
And the Trojan horse plot works, right? They use Julianne, they sneak into Camelot, they bust out, start attacking everybody, and the knights are fighting these huge metal beasties. And Kaylee's seeing this battle because she got brought with them, right? Kaylee sees this battle, it's like, right, I obviously am the one that the king needs right now. So she goes off to find the king. And, like, Garrett comes back. He's, like, decided that, like, he's there to help despite the terrible townspeople. And so Carrot and Gailey... Oh, my gosh. Carrot and Gailey. They're fusing.
These names aren't hard.
Too. Everybody's fusing together.
These
the
names
two
are
dragons
not hard.
are together. Excalibur's with Ruger. Kaylee and Garrett are now one person.
Yeah.
They sneak into the castle where Ruber has Arthur cornered. And Kaylee swings in, knocks Ruber out, and to where, like, the stone is. Like, the sword in the stone, right? This is Excalibur's birthplace, I'm assuming.
It's like a generic
Stonehenge kind of vibe.
Yeah, it's like a value brand Stonehenge around this, like, big stone that is the sword in the stone.
Sword. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
The stone. So Ruber lunges at Garrett and Kaylee, and they jump out of the way, and the sword goes back into the stone. And then everything is set right through magic. Like all the metal people turn back into normal people.
And this is part 2 that freaked me out.
Yes.
Because, like, Ruber is not... There's, like, beams of light, and, like, the wind's blowing his hair back, and he's not really scared. Like, I think that's the part that, like, makes me feel weird, because he's not really scared. He's just, like, fully insane, and his body basically, like, disintegrates.
Yeah.
Around, like, off of Excalibur.
This beam of, like, evil lime shoots out of his chest, and then he just vaporizes. Which
is cool, but
it's really terrifying. Cool. I'm surprised he just didn't turn back into, like, a normal human, like everybody else did. But maybe, like, Excalibur was, like, personally affronted by that. He was like, you tried to become one with me? Too close? You dead, boy.
Flew too close to the
vaporized. Sun. Exactly. So when I was a kid, I always wondered why, like, Garrett is still blind at the end of this. Everybody is magically healed.
You're right.
Everybody's magically healed. The two, oh my gosh, the word dragon is really hard for me right now. The two dragons, like, separate, but then, like, choose to be reconnected with each other. And I'm like, why is Garrett still blind?
Yeah.
But apparently, I read about this, the writers did that on purpose as a way to show, like, he's strong and capable despite being blind, and that, like, they wanted to show that he doesn't need to be, like, fixed.
Right. There's nothing about him that needs to be fixed.
I love that. I'm like, totally.
That's awesome. That's super
fantastic.
Cool.
So I thought it was something that they had forgotten about, but it was, like, actually, like, a very, like, purposeful move. Love them for that.
Cool. The writers are better than freaking, like, Camelot.
Yeah, all the Camelot people are like, screw that guy.
King Arthur is supposed to be like...
Yeah.
He's supposed to be, like, the greatest king, like, the most benevolent king.
The most greatest.
I love that, though. That's really cool.
Yeah, totally love that. So, we're wrapping up. This is the end of the movie. We cut to a ceremony where Kaylee is in a white dress, and I'm like, wedding? But then they're, like, both knighted. But then I'm, like, still, like, wedding? Like, I'm very confused.
I think it's a wedding.
I think it's a wedding,
they're
like,
knighted.
They're both knighted. Yeah. She has a spot at the round table. She's, like, fulfilled her dream. And she's married, like, captured a hot hunk in the process.
Yeah.
They dance. It ends with a kiss. What more could you want? Nothing. So then they said the end.
The right answer is nothing. The right answer is I'm assuming, I think that the last end bit, they both are knighted, and it's also a wedding.
It's like a twofer, you know?
Yeah.
What else? And what other ceremonies could we combine?
Yeah, and they go
like
off
baptisms and
yeah, they're gonna go off and consummate the knightship.
Oh no.
Yeah. oh no.
Okay, so
that was it. Yeah, that was for Camelot.
The end. How we feeling, Blake? How we doing?
I don't know how to feel about this. I think maybe we can talk about this, but yeah, I don't know how to feel about this at this point.
Yeah, I have a lot of feelings. Like, first of all, I think like Quest for Camelot is like a Disney wannabe for sure. Yeah, we got a strong female lead, quirky characters as comic relief, like a death of the parent, you know, and like some catchy tunes. It's trying to be Disney, but it doesn't really have like, it just needs like 25% more. You know what I mean? And then
it's missing some magic, which is super ironic because Merlin is literally in this movie.
And we got a lot of potions and magic.
Yeah.
So,
that was a joke.
I totally know.
No, but yes,
I know what you're talking
agree.
about, though. Like,
Yeah.
there's just like a little something that's missing. I think it's like 25% better,
Mm-hmm.
animation, 25% better dialogue. And
Yeah.
then, I don't know. Character
Yeah.
development was like, okay. She's like less of a brat in the end. And Garrett didn't have to
Yeah.
learn anything because he was already perfect.
Well, yeah, duh. Um, I think, yeah, get rid of Bladebeak, which I think is supposed to be like the second comedic relief, and just
Yeah.
make the dragon better. I don't know.
I agree. And then, perfect film.
Yeah, it's great. It's really good.
So should we go into like our questions? Like, what do you think like a grown-up millennial would enjoy rewatching this film?
Absolutely not.
I agree. I totally think that if the nostalgia isn't there, like, you're not gonna have a fun time. You're gonna be
The nostalgia was there for me, and I didn't have a fun time.
you're gonna be like weirded out. You're gonna be a little bit creeped out.
Yeah, a little bit.
And you're gonna be bored, which is an odd pairing.
Yeah. There's part of me that's like, the kids could watch it. Just put kids in front of this, and they're not gonna care.
Agree.
They're not
I
gonna care
agree.
about this one.
I think it's a good way for a kid to like spend an hour and a half.
Yeah, maybe like listen to the soundtrack.
Yes.
Definitely listen to the soundtrack. That
Soundtrack's a banger.
slaps.
If you don't, okay, so if you've never watched this movie before, congratulations for making it through this podcast episode. But do go to YouTube and find Ruger's song.
Yes.
Like Quest for Camelot, Ruger, villain song. Do that. That's all you need.
And then
5-minute movie.
That's all you need from the movie, like the actual movie itself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
Okay. Yeah, I would say
And
that.
then and then throw on some Celine Dion.
Yeah.
You're good.
Go look up The Prayer by Celine Dion. Seriously, that's
and cry over her lost Oscar.
Yeah.
Poor thing. Yeah, I wasn't like wowed. I was a little confused at what like the morals were. I guess it's like be true to yourself. Go for your dreams. Girl boss your way into the round table. Glass ceiling.
I don't know. Maybe that's partly why I'm like I don't know how to feel. Because it's just like
there's not really a clear message. Nobody told me to read a book, which I was a little bit sad about.
I was hoping they'd say something about that.
Yeah.
And I didn't get it.
Yeah. So I guess it's like friendship. I don't know.
I don't know. Sure.
Yeah. That's probably why I don't feel so great about it.
Yeah. Which is like, that's kind of wild because at the beginning they sing this whole annoying song about how there's like loyalty and justice and honor, and then like and I don't know what any of that like I don't
had to do with the rest of it.
Yeah,
didn't
I don't
tie
know.
in.
Yeah, exactly.
We didn't come full circle. No.
The moral was get yourself a man.
Yeah, get yourself a hunk from the forest.
Because if you want to go through that forest and you don't have that man, you gonna die.
Yeah. She was a goner for sure.
Yes.
Well, I have one review that I would like to read, and then I say we forget this ever happened.
Yes. Perfect. Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So this is actually a YouTube review from the aforementioned YouTube video that I think everybody should watch. This guy says, man, even as a kid, this song, he's talking about Ruger's song. Gosh, I had to look up to see what his name is because I can't even remember. I have it written a million times. He said, even as a kid, Ruger's song and the visuals like gave me chills. I saw a lot of villains, but Gary Oldman nailed the sinister insanity that even a kid can go, damn, he's evil as hell. And like, I totally get it. Like, he's just evil to be evil, you know? Like,
yeah.
He doesn't have like a tragic backstory or like anything. He's just like, I'm unhinged. I'm here. Everybody's going to have a bad time but me.
Yeah. And and he's loving it. Anything that's happening,
he's an icon,
loving it. Yeah,
for sure. So if you like play D&D and needed like a good villain or like a very obscure Halloween costume, think about Ruger.
Which is like, he's got a tight, like, he's got a really cool, like, set of armor, so...
He really does. And then, like, Excalibur hand. That can twist. I'd love like to see
spinning
that.
Excalibur. Oh, man. I know what I'm going to be.
I would love that. There you go. I'm giving you plenty of time.
This is perfect. Thanks for the heads up.
You're welcome. All right. Well, Blake, anything else that you would like to force upon our audience?
Did you want to do this review that you had here from Sandra?
I do have another one. This one's from Sandra Michaud, and this was off of a Christian website, which I thought was really funny. So the title is "My Children Were Terrified." My children, ages 7 and 4, were terrified of this movie. I felt it was full of evil that was extremely frightening for them. I do not feel it is appropriate for young children. I agree with the review that the magic potions and sorcery are scary, and I think they are completely inappropriate for Christian families. The only redeeming quality was the blind hero being completely capable of functioning and overcoming his handicap. I mean...
She was right on the last part.
Right on the last part, and I like that she brought Garrett into this. I like that.
As a good Christian family, I'm gonna keep away from,
Yeah.
I wish I had known this before going in.
Yeah, goodness.
As a good Christian family, I would have steered away from this.
Yeah, so she says her kids are age 7 and 4. I was probably about 6 when I watched this movie, 6 or 7. Yeah. And it scared me, for sure. But it wasn't like one that like kept me up at night or made me not want to watch it again, much to the chagrin of our parents. I probably wanted to watch it again. Yeah,
they probably watched it once and they were like, no freaking way. Watch Page Master again, kids.
Watch Page Master. Read a book.
Read a book.
So that brings us to our second question is like, what age would you inflict this upon your children if you wanted to?
So I was like, what would I have been, like 10 when this came out?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, it was fine. Like, there were some, there were scary parts for me as a 10-year-old that I also kind of maybe couldn't point him out, but I was also kind of recognizing some parts of this that were like wet fart, kind of boring, kind of like, with like pacing and stuff like that.
Yeah, the pacing's off.
8. I would say 8 years old.
I would agree. 8.
7 or 8. Then I think they'd get it.
I think they'd get it.
I wish I could show up to my 2 girls because there's like a strong female protagonist, but it's like,
for sure,
I don't know what moral they're supposed to be learning. With this lady. So
I guess like ladies can be knights. Don't let the glass knight ceiling stop you.
You can ride on the talents of a blind punk and get there
with a white man by your side. You can do anything you want.
God. Yeah. 7 or 8. Sure. Yeah.
7 or 8. I would say lower for the rating for me. I would give it like a 5. Solid 5.
Yeah. Oh, no. I'm talking about age.
No, age group.
Not,
yeah. For sure.
Not rating.
7 or 8 age, 5 out of 10.
Right. And definitely change this to a PG. There's no way in hell this is a G.
There's no way this is G. Yeah, totally. Well,
all right.
I think we've spent a little too much time, personally.
Just enough. It was just enough time. But yeah.
Oh, gosh.
I loved at the very least a jumping off point to talk about excuse me. To talk about body horror.
Body horror.
And
for sure.
to look at that scene again kind of in that light. But
I totally agree.
Go do that on your own time and don't watch this movie.
I concur. All right.
All right. Cool. Well, yeah, email
Thanks
us
for joining us.
realnightmares@gmail.com. Whoa. Oh, sorry.
No, that was good. I was just gonna leave, but that's good too.
I was just gonna say, yeah, you want to talk about this movie? You want to talk, recommend another movie? You want to talk about body horror and some of your favorites?
Yeah.
I always love talking about
We're
or
down to
hearing
clown.
about new horror movies. So Real Nightmares. That's REEL nightmares@gmail.com. And also on Instagram, Real Nightmares. And and that's it. Yeah, that's great.
It.
Now
that's it. I was miming stuff and Blake was very confused.
We made it.
We made it through. All right. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope you have a great night or day or whatever you're doing right now. So
yeah, join us again. We'll see you.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.